So the first step in the installation is to remove your current bumper. If you have an OEM bumper, just like the blacksmith has, get an 18mm socket and pull off the nuts. Get the nuts! Second step in the install is to remove the bumper. That's pretty fun. So the next step in the install video is to remove the crash bar. Now, the blacksmith's crash bar is already removed due to the previous bumper requiring it also. But you can see that Red Rum has its crash bar still. Now you're going to remove the full crash bar so the bumper slides over the frame, right? So get a grinding wheel. This is not a difficult job. Anyone can do it. Just get a good grinding wheel, cutting wheel, and remove the crash bar. So the next step in the install is going to be measuring 3/4 inch from the frame horn and to remove the frame horn, right? So we've got a tape measure, we've got a chalk pen that we're just going to mark it up and then remove. After removing the frame horns, you need to put in your winch plate. Now this is a very snug fit. We had to remove, there are small bumps on the inside of the frame. We had to remove those and also used a dead blow hammer to get this winch plate on. It is a snug fit. Again, another thing to note is the backing of your D-ring inlets go on the inside of the frame, right? So they are going to pinch the winch plate between the frame and these eyelets. Next step is going to be marking. After you put the winch plate in, mark the holes, drill them, and then make sure there's no interference with your winch. So we have the holes marked. Now make sure you mark the 2 on the top and 1 on each side, right? And then the next step is going to be removing this and drilling the holes. Now this is going to be really tough getting this thing off. It's very snug in there, but remove it and then drill your holes. So after you've drilled the holes, you want to clean up the frame rails, put some Rust-Oleum on there or something like that so your frame doesn't rust. After you do that, clean up the holes and then put the winch plate back in. Now what you don't want to do is put all the bolts in and final tighten them fully. Go ahead and just put the bolts in loosely. Put your bumper on. Put the hoop that you received or that you got through or on to the winch plate with the bumper. Put all the hardware in loosely, and then make sure that it all fits correctly before you final tighten. All right, guys. So we removed the bolts, put the winch plate back on, and actually for those guys that have larger winches like the Zeon, it's a very tight fit. You can see where the Zeon is up against the grill and it's actually pushing the grill back. Not a big problem, but what we had to do is take the stinger off, take the bumper plate off, keep the winch plate on, and actually install the winch prior to putting everything back in. So we've installed the winch. It's really tight if you've got a big winch like the Zeon. Just make sure it's installed. Make sure you have the 4 bolts on the bottom. And then we're going to move on to putting the bumper casing back on and then the stinger back on. Here's your final product of the VKS V3 Stubby bumper. So guys, that's it. we have installed the VKS bumper. We've installed the TRE synthetic rope and the custom splice fair lead. Now, a few things about the bumper that we'd like to point out, right? It's an awesome bumper. However, there are a lot of things to go through, especially the plates underneath. So what we had to do is get a little bit longer bit and drill the holes out a little bit more, and it fit perfectly. Now, we love this bumper. Even without the stinger, it's an awesome look. Another thing that we ran into is our D-rings have too fat of an end on the vehicle side to use with the VKS bumper. Not a big deal, but just an FYI, just in case you get to the end and you wonder why your D-rings aren't working. So that's it.